hail the Clicks crew! Alright guys, today we're covering the third installment of the Heroclix 2021 rules update. This is Heroclix 2021 Rules 3, Less is More. This can be found at whizkids.com/Heroclix. Basically, go to heroclix.com, click on Press Room. It's right at the top. We're going to talk about this. These are updates for the 2021 rules. These come out with the Wonder Woman 80th anniversary Heroclix set that's going to come out, I believe, in April. That stuff's all tentative, kind of up in the air right now. But we're going to read the article. Then after the article, I'm going to give you my thoughts. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you like this kind of new stuff for Heroclix, because after all these drop, I think there's 5 or 6 of them, I'm going to have another person come on the channel, and we're going to discuss all the rules changes, and we're going to do more of a deep dive rather than just sort of my knee-jerk thoughts on this stuff. So before we get into this, though, it's a good time to let you know that Mr. Clicksflix is sponsored by Lucky Dice Cafe out of Huntsville, Alabama, home of the ROC. No matter if you're in the United States or around the world, Lucky Dice Cafe has the winning role for all your gaming needs. You can visit them at luckydicecafé.com or on their Facebook page using the link found in the description of this video. Mr. Clicksflix is also sponsored by trollandtoad.com, one of the largest online gaming retailers. Visit trollandtoad.com, use the promo code Mr. Clicksflix for 5% off your Heroclix order today. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and transition over to take a look at what specifically is going on here. You're going to see me looking around. I got the dual monitor set up so I can try to read this and make sure you guys are seeing what I'm seeing, so that we can all be on the same page here. So again, forgive me for just reading this, but I want you guys to have all the information. If you want to read it yourself, again, heroclix.com, click on the Press Room tab, and it's the first, as of the recording of this video, it's the first article on there. So it says, hey Masterminds, we've previously mentioned that typically we're only delivering a slice of a character in a Heroclix style. That slice might range from as wide as a particular storyline to as narrow as a particular scene. Most players have appreciated this because it leads to lower point characters so they can get more of what they want into a team. It also means that you have your choice to build fun teams instead of feeling like most of your team is locked in after including their 150 point 10 pull and a key support character at 50 points. We wanted to apply the same advantage to standard powers. Take a look below at some of our thoughts on these standard powers, the before and after takes. We also want to note, just because a standard power isn't doing everything it used to, doesn't mean that we can't, on a case-by-case basis, give the older flexibility to characters as part of a special power or trait. Okay, so basically, they're gonna tell us some of the powers changes. Again, I'm gonna be reading this, giving my thoughts at the end of the video. Leap Climb 2018 version of Leap Climb has 2 parts. 1, elevated does not affect adjacency when choosing targets for a close attack. 2, move, improve movement, elevated, hindering outdoor blocking, move through, breakaway, +2 move. The first part is seldom relevant. When we did an informal survey of our most competitive playtesters, we found that between playtesting and tournaments, they utilize this function of Leap Climb about twice per year at most. It felt great when they did it, but as part of our goal in simplifying the rules, we felt it was not worth the trade-off of inclusion. Okay. Then Leap Climb isn't most people's favorite standard power, but it adds great flavor and flexibility to plenty of characters. Leap Climb was worth rebalancing and improving. We want to make sure the upcoming PAC reflects the leanest Leap Climb that players would be likely to utilize and recognize, especially if it meant a power boost. Okay. 2021 Leap Climb. Improved movement, elevated, outdoor blocking, move through. Again, we're going to be covering this at the end, but I'm not happy. The new version is all about moving, and not about pushing while clinging to a wall. Punching while clinging to a wall. The new version is also always on. So even if you're moving with charge, sidestep, or hypersonic speed, you'll be able to use your improved movement capabilities instead of choosing between leap climb and another standard power. Also, it may look like there was a nerf to leap climb, but when you see the new rules for breakaway and hindering terrain, you'll see why this isn't the case. Okay, so again, we're going to cover this at the end. I got to keep reminding myself, covering it at the end. All right. Telekinesis. What can't telekinesis do? But in the 2018 version of telekinesis, the 2018 version of telekinesis gives a lot of options. Skipping the technical speak, you can make a ranged object attack with an object, move a friendly character, move an opposing character. Sorry guys, I'm trying not to sneeze here. As if you were hitting him with an attack. It's a lot to choose from. While the contrast between these models, which modes you use and which ones you seldom use, might not be as stark as leap climb, we found that when talking with experienced players, their motives to use telekinesis were usually 1. Repositioning and advancing their own characters, repositioning objects for the sake of their own characters, repositioning objects to keep them away from opposing characters, repositioning an opposing character to set up a KO, attacking with an object. By limiting telekinesis to just the first two options, which are the majority of uses of telekinesis, we were able to dramatically reduce the amount of text in the power and thus the learning memory tax of what the power does, and more importantly, the on-map complexity of the decision of when and how to use telekinesis. Furthermore, low point characters with telekinesis won't represent outsized gameplay options for their point cost. Finally, the reality of the reality of most strong attackers that could utilize telekinesis is that they'd rather make ranged attacks than utilize the object attack mode of telekinesis. Telekinesis 2021. Power, minimum range value 6. Place one target, friendly single base character, or object within range and line of fire into another square within range and line of fire. That square must be placed within 6 squares in line of fire from the target's current square. Characters placed with this power can't use telekinesis this turn. Okay. As stated earlier, the design team will from time to time re-inject some of the flavor and options of telekinesis for certain figures through a special power or trait for more advanced options. The combat experts and Perplex. Perplex, range combat expert, and close combat expert might not seem like complex powers, but they actually make players choose between some basic modes for close and range attacks respectively. +2 attack, +2 damage, +1 for each attack and damage. And for Perplex, you can actually pick between even more modes: character, friendly, opposing, combat values, attack, damage, defense, speed, range. For Heroclix veterans, this flexibility is awesome. Speaking of flexibility, it's a little strange that ranged or close combat expert don't combo with other standard powers. Their only options are powerful. Next, consider what you've seen on dials. You've probably seen the design team give out Super Perplex, where characters with a trait or special power can give +2 as long as it isn't to damage. We try to make the overall +3 to damage very tough to come by since it's so powerful. Sometimes we let characters with close or range combat expert with charge or running shot respectively. So overall, the best version of close and range combat expert were nearly always in special powers or traits. Perplex is always awesome, but frequently so awesome that you want it in place of other attack or damage buffs. We found that we could achieve a lot of good things with minor tweaks to these abilities. Players can attack more quickly if they took out the choice from combat experts. Players don't experience blowout levels of damage when their opponent gets lucky and hits with a +2 damage from combat expert. If the combat expert would combo with running shot and charge, they'd gain some advantage relative to Perplex. If Perplex didn't impact damage, you could make the combat expert's enhancement and empower relatively more desirable at the dial and character level, and special power versions of Perplex would be less wordy. Let's try to get as much of this on the screen as we can. Maybe. Okay. Range Combat Expert 2021. This character modifies attack +1 and damage +1 while making a range combat attack or using range destroy. Close Combat Expert 2021. This character modifies attack +1 and damage +1 while making a close attack or using close destroy. These abilities are always on, making them potent without adding choices. There's also a chance for more characters to destroy stuff this way. Perplex. Let me make sure you guys can read that. Okay. Free. Minimum range value 6. Choose a target within range and line of fire. Modify one of that character's combat values other than damage +1 or -1 until your next turn. Perplex is a really deep ability, so we wanted to focus on 2 reasons for the change in particular. In talking with players and how to improve the game, they kept coming back to the best matches are those that give and take brawls that either skilled players could crawl back from, where there is something very satisfying about setting up a multi-step complex series of events that demolishes the opponent, and feedback we have received and embraced is that a more pitched give and take battle with ongoing strategies that evolve during the game is more satisfying. It also allows for players to compete against more teams without the outcome of the game most likely settled. Simply put, Heroclix is less fun when one player deals 6 damage, 3 printed, +3 from other effects, and eliminates more than half of the opponent's biggest dial, 11 clicks of health maximum on a standard dial. If they've eliminated opposing damage reducers and evaders, this blowout feeling is only more severe. The reality is also that the average point value of Heroclix figures being played in high-level play has gone down in recent years, so that unusually large amounts of damage are even more devastating. Few characters, and therefore teams, can make a comeback from a 6 damage hit. This was a frequently requested change from invested skilled players, since it helps keep value in their already strong characters and encourages multi-turn tactical plays where they're responding to their opponent's attacks and actions instead of trying to outrace them to a one-hit KO. To look back at earlier characters in this vein, we'd refer to the 2017 rules change to remove ultra-heavy objects from the game. Perplex is also a wild card of sorts, as we determined it was probably too much of a wild card. Plenty of abilities would be easily categorized into a video game or board game. If a power boost, attack, or defense, you might think of it as consistency, since your attack rolls are more likely to hit, but your opponents would be less. If a power boost, speed, or range, you might desire it as utility. However, boosting damage is many of these things at once, and hard to call anything but potency. Your figures hit harder, and in many ways, the strong offense is a good defense too. There's also very little risk involved in utilizing Perplex. At least if I'm utilizing Empower and Enhancement to boost damage, I'm opening myself up to opposing Quake, Pulse Wave, or Energy Explosion. Most Perplexers will be able to do so from a safe distance when they'd like to. Enhancement and Power will also become more desirable as the ability to increase damage in an environment with fewer opportunities to do so. This article quickly became much detailed than we initially expected, but we hope you enjoyed the insight into why we made these changes. We expect that this might shake up some teams, but we hope ultimately that it will reveal more options to play beloved teams in dynamic play environments. Join us next time for insights into the changes we've made theme teams. So I guess theme teams is the next one. And then if we want to see more rules updates, click the link. Okay, so quite a few changes here. We're going to start, we'll start at the top. We're going to start with Leap Climb. What are my changes about this? Okay, so first of all, before we get into this, I want to preface that I reserve the right to change my opinion once we are given more information. This is only my opinion of this at this current point in time, and given more information, it may or may not change. Especially when they mention in here, that, hey, we couldn't change this a few times. And there was actually, I didn't cover it, but there was a Rules 2.5 where they, I guess, had gotten a lot of feedback and did, in fact, change some things. So if we tell them, hey, we don't like this, maybe they'll change it. So Leap Climb. Man, they really botched a golden opportunity here. Leap Climb. Improve movement, elevated outdoor blocking, and move through. Why not just give the character improved movement? I don't understand why. Okay, literally the best thing about the move part, one of the best things about the move part that like made it better than just improved movement. Like one of the only legs up it had on improved movement was the +2 breakaway. You stripped that. So the only part you left was the improved movement, elevated and outdoor blocking, move through. So you can't even ignore hindering anymore. Now it did say in here that they're changing moving through characters, moving through hindering. So again, we're going to see that, but the +2 breakaway, again, they might change that. Elevation, attacking on elevations. I personally use that a lot. I'd like to know who they ask for these. Like what are their play testers? What are their competitive play testers? Who is actually getting asked about this? I feel like at this point almost they should take all the national champions, team and individual, and the world champions, team and individual, and part of your prize for winning the Heroclix championships should be that you're a play tester for the next year. That's just, these are people that are encouraged to break the game. These are people that know the rules basically inside and out. That should be part of the thing, because whoever's doing this, I don't know. I don't know who they're asking about these. I know a bunch of people that signed up for the Whiz Kids like surveys and stuff like that. Nobody that I know, and I've asked people that I didn't know, hey, did you get asked about this? The answer is no. So I don't know who they're asking or what's going on, but they really need to reconsider who's giving them information. The best thing they should do, like I said, is really just contact national champions, and I'm not talking just U.S. like the national champions from Europe, South America, all over the place. Those people should all be asked. If they want to be a play tester for the next year, they should be on it. Telekinesis. Let's see here. What was the thing? The object attacks. I've seen people use it personally. Wasn't a big thing I did. The not moving opposing characters. Okay, honestly, I didn't use that very much, but it is a powerful ability. But other than that, I mean, this is basically the same. They just, for all intents and purposes, I think TK was probably this and the combat experts were probably the best changes that they made. This one's not terrible. I think TK is probably the best out of the changes that they did, because it keeps most of the utility that it had before. It does lose some things, but it kept mostly what I see it used for 99% of the time. Then you have the combat experts. So instead of having the choice of +2 to attack, +2 to damage, or 1/1. They took that out of your hands, and it's +1 attack, +1 damage, while making a ranged attack or close attack, depending on which one you have. So I'm thinking that these might pair with running shot and charge now, which is good. I don't know. They make this lame excuse about that, it cuts down on decision time. I've never one time felt that somebody was slow playing or something was going on where I was like, oh, they need to really make it so that they can't choose what they're doing on this power. Never once. So I hate when they make that kind of excuse. Like, just say you were trying to streamline it and make it so that it's auto. You just do this. You don't have to think about it. It just happens. And it's easier to understand. Again, I didn't think it was too complicated before. And again, I don't know where these magical new players are coming from when they don't advertise. They have a few people that they send Heroclix to. This last set, they did no previews. I haven't seen, the only 3 previews we've seen for Wonder Woman were the ones that were in the 2.5, which were kind of used to explain a little. So I'm concerned we're not getting any previews for that. So it's difficult, even for me and the other Heroclix content creators. It's hard to hype a set when you're not given any information about it. So, even if it's not given directly to, for example, me, if I see Clicked Off has a preview, I can, cover their preview the next day and do that. But like, there's no way to get the hype train going if they don't show people their stuff. Hopefully they end up, giving some money to a marketing budget so they can advertise. I'm not talking about commercials, but hey, maybe pay for some Facebook ads or something. Okay, so Perplex. This is probably the most egregious one. So Perplex, one of the ultimate utility powers in the game. It made it so that you could take a figure that maybe wasn't going to get you anything to putting it over the top, something that you can utilize. There's so many figures that Perplex helps that and makes usable that it's staggering. But what they did here, free range value 6, modify the characters combat values other than damage +1 or -1 until your next turn. The damage thing is huge. Why would you play a character that has 1 or 2 damage now? Unless you're going to play enhancement or empower, which it really seems like they're going to be pushing. But now you're talking about playing a very specific kind of team. Okay, you're talking about a deployment style team now at this juncture, where you got your taxi, your super taxi, you can carry 4 or 5 of your boys. Your super taxi goes over, boop, 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 boop. You can get your +3 damage that way if you really need it. And then you take your guy over and you do your, to quote Dark Logos, you get your Kamehameha on, and you get you get your KO. I don't know why they're promoting that style of play with this. To me, if +3 damage was that big of a deal, just either A, make it a unique modifier, or B, change the rule of 3 to the rule of 1. And then start making characters that have at least 2 damage. Never ever print a character that has 1 damage, because it's going to be useless from there on out unless it has a very specific set of powers to go along with it. And then just do that. I don't understand why they did this. They made it so that at this point, there's a bunch of Perplexers that have 1 or 2 damage. If it gets down to where I do lose my main attacker now, I have nobody that can effectively deal damage against impervious or even invulnerability. I don't have anybody then, and I have no way to increase it. So again, I don't know. Maybe they'll wow me with some kind of design that I'm not thinking of, or maybe there'll be a bunch of characters where they have like this halo effect of anybody within 3 gets +1 to their damage when they attack, or something like that. But I don't know. I just, on its face, this is a bad change. This is no bueno. But again, I reserve the right to change my mind. You know, the getting blown out stuff, I don't agree. Again, I'd like to know who they talk to. You know, I'm getting to the point now where I don't think they're talking to anybody, is what I think. Or the one or two people they're talking to are, I wouldn't even say casual players, because casual players do this stuff all the time. So I don't know who they talk to, if they talk to anybody at this point. So yeah, we're going to be covering more of this stuff. Again, I mean, not to be a Debbie Downer, you know, don't take that away. The Perplex change, is it going to cause me to quit? No. I'm just going to use enhancement and a power, basically just like what they said, but I think it not going on damage is a mistake. Overall, I disagree with their reasoning, but I like the changes for range combat expert and close combat expert. That's perfectly fine. I like that it seems like they're going to pair up just fine with running shot and charge. A-okay by me. I understood mechanically why they didn't work together, but I didn't understand logically why they didn't work together. And then the TK1 is okay. Like, they kept what 90% of the use was of it, but I don't know. I'm not that upset over the TK, but it's still not, I don't know. I don't think it was complicated is what they say. Again, I don't know. I'm not sure what to say. Again, we're going to be having a whole thing on a deep dive on my thoughts on all these once it's all done, and we're going to have an assist from another Heroclix YouTube creator so that we can put all of our thoughts down, and it'll be long form, and it's going to be awesome. Leap Climb, I think Leap Climb is the biggest missed opportunity on this entire list, and I know that, you know, I kind of went hard in the paint on Perplex, but I think Leap Climb's the most egregious one. Why can't Leap Climb be, you know, free, move 3 squares, -1 attack, make a free attack? Like make it mini charge, better than sidestep, not as good as charge, something like that. Like, what, I don't understand why we have to do the improved movement when improved movement is a thing you can just put on the dial. Why do we have 2 forms of improved movement? We already have that mechanic. Give me a different mechanic. That's the thing that I don't like, is it's basically like, hey, this power already sucked. Guess what? It's going to suck a little bit more, because not only can you not do the one cool thing it could do, which is attack on elevated, and I don't know who they asked that said they don't use that, but they, I don't know, maybe they play different people than me. The attack at elevated gets used all the time around where I play. And I've seen it used a bunch in places where I don't normally play. So I don't know where they got that information from. But the improved movement, elevated, outdoor, and move through, like, that's fine. Again, the lack of hindering and the +2 breakaway, they said those were going to be addressed. So I'm going to say, hey, it's getting addressed at a different point. So no point in getting upset about it. But you already have improved movement. Why do you have improved movement again? I don't understand why it's that way. Make it something else. Make it something useful. Make it like super sidestep or half power charge or something like that. I don't know. You could do. Again, I really think that that's a good thing. Is just free move 3 attack. Make a free attack -1 attack. I know that's a little more complicated than what they have here, but that is not a complicated power to put together for anybody. Alright guys, so you make sure to let me know what you think of all these rules changes in the comments below. Make sure to hit that notification bell so that you can see when I post videos all the time. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, give it a share. If you want to support the channel more than just visiting the channel sponsors, please check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/MrClicksClicks. We've got lots of cool swag that gets in everybody's hands every month, along with shout-out videos and shout-out items. So make sure to check that out at patreon.com/MrClicksClicks. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today. As always, please remember that it's only critical miss if you don't have probability control.